All righty, welcome to another episode of the Lockdown Podcast. The Lockdown Podcast. I'm not going to edit that. That's just fun because it's like a tongue twister for me to say all the time. But we're here again just to pick apart Raw, SmackDown, the PLEs we're working towards, and a smothering of other, not necessarily rumors, but just facts that need to get checked. But so I would say this week in Raw and SmackDown, it's getting a little bit too predictable, um, a little bit cliche, and how they're setting up things for Clash in Paris. Um, yeah, I like it, but I don't like it. But I think as things go, sometimes we use the same recipes, sometimes we use the
Mhm.
same tropes. When you've done so many of this, so many things, it's bound to get repeated with different wrestlers, sometimes the same wrestlers, but it be what it be, guys. It is World Wrestling Entertainment. So you just take what you get and you enjoy it and we talk about it. So um So Raw this past week kicks off with again the Vision coming out, being Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and the Oracle Paul Heyman, giving their normal rigmarole speeches of things, and Braun Breaker being this, and Bronson Reed having the Shula Fala and the Tribal Thief, and it's getting very repetitive, the things they say and the things they do. As far as kicking off the show, um, I'm the tribal thief thing is, I mean, it should have already ran its course. It's not really that entertaining anymore for you to hold on to two pairs of Jordans around your neck from stealing Roman Reigns shoes. I feel like they could move past it. I it's kind of stale. Um, So, like, what do you guys think about like the Vision and kind of them kicking off the shows, which seems regularly like believability? Like, what are your guys' thoughts on the Vision?
To my opinion, they need a better fucking name. The name sucks. Um,
Mm.
that's just my opinion. I just don't find care for the name. But other than that, kicking off the show every week feels like it's a bloodline on Raw kicking off every freaking week. It's kind of getting boring. Need to change it up a little bit and have somebody else kick off the show, not constantly
Yeah,
Seth freaking Rollins.
You know,
yeah.
I
And they need
they've done
their
this
own
before.
theme song.
Yeah, they've done that before where they've had someone kick off the show who was like the top bad guy and they made them feel like what they were doing is super important and vice versa. I remember the years that John Cena would kick off the show, then later on he would have a match in the night. I think it's a way to get over a faction or an individual when you have them throughout the show. Um, the whole thing about the shoes, it's weird, but it's intriguing because I'm looking for like what it means. Like, why are you taking my man's shoes? Like,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Like in other cultures or other like areas of life, like what does that mean? Uh, I think Braun Breaker really needs. I think I would like to see him start to become hard to deal with. Um, because he's so much of a hothead and let that be a problem. Um, the name of the
So,
group, the Vision, I get that, but I'm okay with it because it just it's for some reason it works for me. Um, but maybe they need a different trope. or like a
So
different recipe?
so I have up the multiple reasons in different cultures for stealing shoes. In many cultures, stealing shoes is a significant loss or theft in some aspect of your life, serving as a reminder to be vigilant about your what is dear to you. Um, it symbolizes disruption of personal boundaries, indicating vulnerability and exposure. Uh,
Mm.
in dreams, stealing shoes can reflect the feelings of vulnerability, insecurity, and a sense of being exposed in some areas of your life. And the cultural significance, it says, is different cultures have unique interpretations. For example, in Chinese culture, it is considered a severe act of disrespect. So I think the
Mm.
overall thing is it's exposing Roman Reigns to basically he's not what he was. Is I think
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get now that I look it up and actually put some verbiage to
You know what?
what it
Yeah.
means.
That
So
that that makes a lot of sense because it's also a really good way to write him off so he can go and do this movie. So, yeah. So taking of the shoes, you're not who you say you are, and to be vigilant, and I'm on you, right? So like,
yeah, it's
yeah.
it's it's basically a big huge thing of disrespect. So but I mean it's still a little bit silly. Like I understand if he did it the first couple times and he was doing it, but like I mean I guess if it's working towards some story down the road, which it is happening because we are having Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed at Clash in Paris. So maybe when he wins, he takes his shoes back, I guess.
Who
I mean,
Um,
I don't, you know what? I don't see him winning at Clash in Paris. I see him losing and having his shoes stole a third time so they can write him off saying, "You ain't got it no more, chief." You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? I run this.
yeah,
And that's a way of putting Bronson Reed over as this really big, unstoppable force, which he already was because he is really big. And it also makes Roman more of a hero when he returns because he went off to find himself or whatever WWE trope they use, but he's going to go film a movie, so they write him off.
yeah,
And then when he comes back, he like evens the score. And
yeah. I mean that's the same way they wrote off Cody, but like Cody said he wasn't taking much of a break, from having the championship and everything else. I mean, he's not going to defend at Clash in Paris, obviously. So I feel like he'll be written off for a little while. But if you want to go by the rules of WWE, written or unwritten, I don't know. But basically, you have to defend your title once a month. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. Maybe we get Drew McIntyre, versus him down the road. But, I think Randy Orton did a good job interjecting himself to, you know, slow down that possibility match down the road. But
mhm.
um so so we get Io Sky, who is essentially kind of on the rise, even though she doesn't have the title. She's definitely getting put over. Does defeat Raquel Rodriguez, even with a little bit of Judgment Day nonsense and tomfoolery. So I love that yes, she lost the title, and that's just kind of how it goes with Money in the Bank, you know, and everything else. So like I love that they're pushing her. It was kind of sudden and kind of random when they did push her, obviously before WrestleMania, but good on them, and she gets over with the fans, the whole, like it works, it's over, and and I look forward to what they do with her, as being a singles wrestler versus any, group faction she's in. Obviously, she has friends, in the Kabuki Warriors, but like she's still a singles competitor and wants to handle her own business. So, um, good on her. But so I didn't really know or understand what the validity was with Penta versus Xavier Woods. Um, I feel like NSC was just kind of a filler match.
I think so too.
I think Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston are getting mid card right now. I don't see them, anytime soon rising back to the ranks of having tag team gold. I think they're running this whole losing the title gimmick pretty strong every week, whether it's merch or the hats or the clothing or whatever. And I think they're
clothing.
yeah, and I think they're just gonna kind of be mid for now, and I think that's okay. I think the next time we get Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston going after titles, I feel like they're gonna be face. So I think they're just gonna kind of run this heel gimmick for what it's worth, and down the road we'll see them be face again because they're cheery and chipper and everything else. So I think this is just one of those situations where it's just going to run its course. So lately we've been kind of getting this mesh up of different promotions having different wrestlers appear on WWE, whether it was TNA or AAA or whatever it be. We did get to see Mr. Iguana, who is just a fun character. Like, I mean, it's fun, right? Like, I think sometimes you just need just something fun in the show. Like, it doesn't have to have much validity. It doesn't have to have this grandiose story. And so we see Finn Balor and JD McDonough. I'll never say Dunna, but versus I just did.
Just call him Bobblehead.
And they defeat Mr. Iguana and Dragon Lee, obviously with the normal shenanigans of Judgment Day. So next we get Becky Lynch, with the IC title versus Natalya. And we talked about this a little bit beforehand. And I think now that Becky is past Lyra, she's just going to run through the roster. And until, we get someone worthy of the IC title on Raw, obviously we kind of have Nikki Bella kind of looming, but I don't see Nikki Bella holding a championship.
I don't think so either.
And I guess you could say never, but it's just kind of interesting. But I like that the feud between Nikki Bella and Becky Lynch, it's got some sparks.
Hey, and it might happen because look at you had Lita a few years ago won the women's tag team belt with Becky, and when they were here in Grand Rapids.
Yeah, so I guess never say never in WWE. But I really hope they don't miss the opportunity that they do have, just because after that promo a couple weeks ago between Becky and Nikki Bella,
oh, that was a good one. That was a good promo.
This thing has some gas. Let's push the gas pedal. Let's do something with this, because obviously you have Hall of Famer versus future Hall of Famer, and Becky Lynch. And so I hope they don't miss it, because we all know that sometimes WWE misses the mark on things, but what's not good for us per se might be better for others, and they go with whatever the overwhelming majority wants. So just because we don't like it doesn't mean a lot of other people do like it. So so we finally get to see Naomi come out and obviously relinquish her title, obviously due to her, being pregnant, which is awesome. Congratulations. Baby Oos on the way. And so I think it sucks, but at the same token, she stayed in character and basically telling Adam Pearce, I ain't giving you shit. Like, you know, and so like I love that even though she's going to be out for, let's call it a year and a half, maybe, you know, 14, 15 months. Like either way, like that last promo is going to want us wanting more.
Right.
And she
Definitely.
did such a great job of staying in her character and incorporating what's real life and, you know, what is the gimmick. And so I, you know, again, congratulations. Like, you know, you know, congratulations to Big Jim. And so, you know, I
Doing that
hope
Netflix and chill.
Netflix and chill. I love that. Like she kind of went down the rabbit hole, kind of broke character a little bit just to throw in some, you know, some real talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good on her.
I saw
Good.
his reaction in the background in the back.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Good on
Everybody
them.
was
Definitely.
laughing when she said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our main event on Monday Night Raw was Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker in an Extreme Rules match, which is just another fancy term for a no disqualification match. But it sounds nice because you're in Philly, so you know it's only fitting to have an Extreme Rules match. So, good match, man. Like, you know, an extreme amount of brutality. But Jay does get the dub over Braun Breaker, and you know, at the end of the day, like even if Jay lost that, which obviously because of, you know, going into Clash of Paris, you want the momentum. So obviously he was going to win, but like good match, a good clean match. I mean, if you can define Extreme Rules as being a clean match, but so SmackDown, so since we're obviously they're going to basically do this mini kind of across the pond tour. So we take ourselves to SmackDown in Dublin, Ireland. Obviously, we start off the show with Becky Lynch. Although she's not on the show, you know, is only fitting. I thought Lyra Valkyria would have been a better person to show up, but you know, we got Becky Lynch, but Becky Lynch spent about 5 minutes kind of enjoying the moment, being very face-ish. But then she dipped into her character, she dipped into her heel persona and did what she did and just got the heat. You get Tiffany Stratton that comes out and basically chats it back and forth a little bit. Followed by Nia Jax, followed by Jade Cargill, which, you know, is again the trope of all tropes. Whoever comes out first is gonna have a match later. That is the trope. That is the
That's the
recipe.
way it goes.
And so we basically get Becky and Nia versus Tiffany and Jade at the end of the night. We'll get to that. So since for like the last maybe handful of months, we've officially had the teaming of The Miz and Carmelo Hayes, you know, Mello don't Miz. It's entertaining for the mid card. It's entertaining for the tag team division. And like, even though you see these little inklings of like maybe a little bit of tension, there really isn't because the backstage segment basically proved that there's not tension because at the end of the day, Miz is a veteran, Carmelo Hayes is on the come up, and the Miz has this thing that he's been doing for quite some time is that he acclimates a new superstar onto the roster and so I feel like maybe they win tag team gold. They have a match next week to determine the number one contender between the Street Profits and them. As much honestly like Street Profits, Mello don't Miz, like I don't care who wins because they're not beating the Wise. They're not beating the Y6. and I absolutely loved if you, I mean, I guess you guys didn't watch it, but I don't know if you've seen like rumor videos, but and there was just inklings of like Uncle Howdy. There was Eric Rowan, you had Nikki Cross in the background of a segment. So there was just these fun little things
Yeah, I've been
that they
seeing a
did in the
lot of that.
background, you know, because that's the new thing now. It's you can like watch an interview in the back, but watch the back, like watch behind the wrestler, and all these little Easter eggs and these little snippets of things to come. But you know, we'll see what happens with that whole tag team division, because honestly, like I've said before, is that the tag team division on SmackDown is way bigger than the tag team division on Raw.
Oh, 100% definitely.
Yeah.
Like I said last week, they got a TLC match. Raw didn't. Raw didn't even have anything, which leads me to believe the Judgment Day is kind of stale. Like they haven't really been doing as much segments, but I feel like the popularity's not there.
So Judgment Day was also at Triple Mania, but I don't know, was there any other tag teams from SmackDown that was there?
I'm not
I
100%
can't
sure.
remember.
But yeah, I think it was just the Judgment Day at Triple Mania, I believe. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like Judgment Day has run its course. And with as hot as the SmackDown rosters with tags, like it kind of makes Raw take a back seat. But like I feel like you really haven't had as many quality matches for the Raw tag team titles as you have had for SmackDown. And and Raw is always supposed to be the A show and yada yada, but like I feel like with how things have been going for the past maybe 6 months, I feel like kind of SmackDown's kind of the A show right now. And it's like, the stuff on, the Raw being on Netflix, like it's kind of gotten stale already. You're like, okay, cool. There's some celebrities here. Okay, cool. Congratulations. Like they sat down for 20 minutes and waved their hand. Like in that whole thing they're doing with having celebrities around the ring is kind of like, okay, cool. Who's here now? Like, ooh, cool. Like it's not as prestige, because it's like with UFC, like you're not every week, you're not doing everything. Like UFC has more separated moments of their live events where celebrities are there for the big fights. Like I think they like Netflix and Raw, they tried to do that, but now it's kind of like, okay, cool, whatever. Like who's here? All right, cool. Like, and it's not as prestige anymore. And
yeah, it didn't seem like it catches on as much as it does with UFC. I wonder how much of that is the the thought that professional wrestling isn't as entertaining as MMA,
yeah.
in that sort of respect, or the stigma of liking professional wrestling. I mean, it's still a form of sports entertainment under sports media, which is a new phrase WWE is trying to really capitalize on sports media. I I don't know why that, I know that a lot of celebrities and socialites, pundits and the like go to WWE events. I wonder if some of it is, hey, I'm just here to do the, enjoy the show with my kid. Could you not bring any attention to me? That sort of thing. Or, it's like, they just, they're not a big enough attraction to be mentioned, that sort of thing. So they WWE could capture that and show that professional wrestling is for everyone,
Right.
regardless. So I think that would be good. Outside of that, man, I really what is going on with WWE right now. Like they're
Yeah.
kind of like up and down with what they're trying to get over when it comes to stories. The whole John Cena heel turn was a fiasco because people just didn't buy it. I
Yep.
don't know if they didn't lean in hard enough, but the Ron Killings heel turn or persona change, that was so money. And it to me, it was just
It
a waste.
resonated. It resonated.
Yeah, it did. It could have just been so much because yeah, it just resonated. Just exactly like you said, Seth. It just resonated. I wanted that. I wanted that for Ron. I wanted that for like longtime fans because he could be a credible champion. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah, they just really they didn't give it enough time. And it's like now it's just he's back to our truth already. Like they just abandoned ship on Ron Killings, and
Right.
it's unfair because we liked Ron Killings. We
Yeah.
like Ron Killings. We like that persona that that little bit more gritty,
Right.
not as serious anymore. He's
What
locked
if we
in.
could have had when that segment aired, instead of us getting our truth, we kept Ron Killings, and Ron Killings like, "Oh, you back? All right. Well, I ain't," and just socked him in his face.
Right.
He drops
Socked
him. It's like,
himself.
yep, he just put some respect on my name and just walks off.
Yeah.
That would have just been like
Not
that would
doing
have
this
been
whole
so yeah, like where you're blaming our truth for your failed heel turn. No, no, no,
Yeah.
no. You just the crowd didn't want it. WWE won it. Everybody abandoned it, and it was just a fail.
Yeah.
it was just stale. It was just not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But there were some really good
It didn't
promos.
fit him.
Yeah, there were some really good promos. Like that, like the Grand Rapids promo. Oh, that I think that was top notch.
Yeah.
Him calling out the toxic relationship with wrestling fans and wrestlers, that was good when they were overseas earlier this month or earlier this year. That was good. It was just
They
I don't
they
yeah,
could have given it more time.
right.
And
And if yeah,
and
yeah,
and again, and the thing is and I think that being that he's been in the business longer than anybody, on the active roster, like a character change was okay. And we really wanted to see that character succeed, and they just dropped the ball. And and it's the same thing with the John Cena thing. Like it's at least the Ron Killing stuff was believable. The John Cena heel turn was really, really terribly done. And it's like, I don't know how to put it, but like
yeah.
it just didn't have a degree of believability.
Like
And
I don't know
so
what would have fixed it.
yeah, I mean I don't think anything could have, because Travis Scott and The Rock just disappeared all for nothing. And then we had this looming possibility of Cody going heel, and that didn't happen. There was a lot of rumor roundups about it, and it just never took ground. But yeah.
If we
So
could just spend another few seconds on this. I think the reason why The Rock dropped out of all that stuff is because of a health issue. Because The Rock would have shown up for WWE. Even if we didn't want him to, he would have showed up for WWE. That's just, I think, his work ethic. I think a few months ago he did release a video or an article or something was on it that he had a health issue. I don't know what the severity of it was, but he couldn't, he's probably stopped everything to work on this health issue. which if that is 100% the case, then yeah, then you do stop and take care of yourself. The Travis Scott stuff, the rumors that I heard was that he was incredibly challenging to work with. And I 100% believe that because a rap group had a song that dissed Travis Scott. And so if you're being dissed in the same vein as Pusha T was dissing Drake last summer, or not Pusha T, but Kendrick was dissing Drake and Pusha T a couple of years prior, then you're a problem. You're a problem to work with. And I think good riddance, because he wasn't believable. He's not Dennis Rodman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman is a
plus on
huge
top
human
of it,
being.
he constantly kept coming to WWE shows with a fucking joint in his hand.
Yeah, it's like
that
what?
was huge conflict. But
yeah.
So
thanks.
So we are having this whole John Cena Logan Paul nonsense. I mean, that's all it was, is nonsense. And honestly, like, John Cena cut an absolute dynamite bid against him. And so it's he said what we all wanted to say in that regards. So at the end, second to last, I guess you could say, but so we get Street Profits versus the MFTs and JC Mateo and Tongaloa. In as much chaos as that match was, I love that they got their comeuppance, and obviously lose to the Street Profits, which good on them. Okay, good on them. So I don't see the MFTs at a point in their story where they need to get tag team gold.
No. They don't need it.
In speaking of Ron Killings and R-Truth, we get the R-Truth, the goofy R-Truth that went to the wrong Dublin and basically
Georgia or something like that.
Yeah, and then sends Damian Priest in to, replace him, and obviously that didn't even turn into a match. That was just a brawl, and then got broken up and all that nonsense. We had, Drew McIntyre basically go on his rant about, the whole Cody and telling him he has no friends, yada yada, and we get, Randy Orton being Randy Orton and giving him an RKO out of nowhere. And this is what I was alluding to earlier in regards to, Randy Orton is kind of the pre-story to, Drew and Cody going back at it, given that Cody's schedule is going to be limited. But so we finally get the Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax and Becky Lynch match at the end of the night. And I mean, it was Nia Jax doesn't have friends. And Becky Lynch doesn't want to make new friends. And so, like, it was only fitting that this match essentially ended with Becky leaving and then Jade Cargill, doing her finisher on Nia Jax for the win. No real surprise there. Now, I don't know if this is a pre-show to maybe Jade Cargill and Becky Lynch going at it for the IC. Maybe we get Nia Jax. It's a triple threat, maybe. Obviously Tiffany doesn't need to do anything because she got the gold. But yeah. So the end of the show was kind of interesting. It basically had John Cena walking out, and basically, Nick Aldis comes up to him and says, "Oh, I heard from Brock." And then obviously Logan Paul comes out with a sucker punch, the loaded fist. And that's pretty much how the show ended. And it was kind of a weird ending. But it left room for interpretation and for the rumor mill to run its course on this whole situation. And so we'll kind of see what happens This coming Friday, the 2 days before Clash in Paris, maybe we get some kind of definitive understanding of what was going on. So
I think Brock Lesnar's going to show up at the Clash of Paris.
I mean, and that's
I
the general consensus.
I don't know. I don't think Brock Lesnar will show up, and the reason being is that Brock Lesnar is a part-timer. He's most comfortable at home. He doesn't want to do that, and no one is gonna travel that far away, with the exception of John Cena, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, to like do
Money,
that
though.
work.
Money, though.
I mean, they would have to throw like $1 million at him, and at that particular point, it's like no wonder you're charging so much.
Well, hey, we'll see.
Yeah. So all we have right now, we have 4 confirmed matches on the card for Clash in Paris. We don't have a women's match, so I think the 4 guys matches are going to stand, and we're going to get tossed in a girl match. Maybe Nikki Bella versus Becky, maybe for the IC. But right now we have John Cena, Logan Paul. Could care less about that. We have the World Heavyweight Championship match between Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Jey Uso, LA Knight. A lot of big names, but we know Big Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker will interrupt this match, and Seth will retain. That is not a prediction. That is a spoiler. So now this was something cool. I know we talked about it beforehand, is that we're getting Roman Reigns in a non-like championship capacity match against Bronson Reed. And it's very interesting to kind of see Roman outside of the championship realm of, matches, and just see him have a match, just a regular ass match. I don't think there's going to be any interruptions. I don't think Braun Breaker's coming out. I think they're going to save that for, I think the championship will probably be the headline, honestly. But, or John Cena's, I don't know. But, I don't see too much interruption with that. I think it's going to be a straight up brawl. Speaking of brawls, we're going to get Sheamus and Rusev in a good old fashioned Donnybrook match, which is probably going to kick off the show.
Probably.
And I love this because these guys put on bangers. And the tension is there, the story is there. So I don't think after this match that they're done. I think there's more to be had, but I see, we'll see what happens with that, but I really don't feel like the story's ending. But so I mean that's kind of it, I guess. But like we'll put a pin in it. We'll be taking next week off. I need a break after a year and 8 months of doing this. I have done every week.
Mhm.
But we will see you guys around the road. When we will on next, we will definitely break down Clash in Paris. Any of the Raw and SmackDown nonsense we can dig our feet into. So this is the Lockdown Podcast. Peace.